Mr. Trump, are you directing surrogates to speak on your behalf?
Mr. Trump, will you testify?
I do have a lot of surrogates, and they are speaking very beautifully, and they come all from all over Washington, and they're highly respected.
All right, a couple things here. First of all, surrogate in this case is a synonym for thug.
And they think this is the greatest scam they've ever seen.
Getting your dirty work of threats and intimidation handled by either clear idiots like Tommy Tuberville.
Here's what I'm seeing too. It is depressing. That courtroom is depressing. This is New York City, the icon of our country. And we got a courtroom that's the most depressing thing I've ever been in.
Or the clearly soulless J.D. Vance.
Why are they all there defending his affair with a porn star? Is that what you're doing?
No, not at all, Martha. I mean, look, I was there to support a friend.
And then there's altar boy Mike Johnson, who lets his son see his phone porn history, now defending this guy.
Grab him by the pussy.
A man who slept with a porn actress while his wife breastfed their kid. That's your guy.
Trump is a f***ing idiot.
This is how Tiny Fingers navigates around Merchan's gag order, because Trump is clearly capable of sending thugs to attack witnesses and enemies.
In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough.
But in the courtroom, the prosecution is doing the thing that wins trials, laying out the crime, then presenting the evidence, which of course is difficult for Trump's people to follow.
J.D. Vance was on his phone the entire time. He wasn't taking in a word of testimony. Tuberville, to his credit, straight ahead, listening, taking it all in as best he can.
I want to reiterate.
This is where we find ourselves, people. A psychopathic mobster wants a nuclear codes, and these whores and rednecks don't even blink.
What we've got here is a partisan Democrat district attorney. We have a Biden donor judge, and we have an assistant DA who was recently a top official at the Department of Justice, Biden's DOJ.
Okay, so Mike, those are your characterizations, but tell me there, altar boy, what are the facts? Or are you incapable because your political aspirations have robbed you of your Christian principles? Have any of the people you mentioned done anything improper? And if so, what?
The star witness here is Michael Cohen. I just listened to a few moments of his testimony this morning, and it is consistent with what he's already done. This is a man who is clearly on a mission for personal revenge, and who is widely known as a witness who has trouble with the truth.
Trouble with the truth? Are you freaking kidding me? Cohen is testifying against a man who has tens of thousands of documented lies and will cheat anyone, anytime, anywhere. And unlike your lame attack on Cohen, it's all documented. You don't have to believe him, Mikey, but the documents, every single one, back up his testimony, as did Stormy's testimony.
We should also remind people that when asked for his worldview, when Mike Johnson became Speaker of the House, nobody knew anything about him. He said, "You want to know my worldview? Go read the Bible. That's what I stand for." And now today, Joe, he's down at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan defending the guy who's on trial for allegedly paying off a porn star for the alleged affair he had while his wife was home with their infant son.
Trump's tribe consists of the flakiest, spineless cabal of wannabes. And it'd be funny if everything wasn't on the line. David Pecker's testimony backed up Trump's history of catching and killing the truth. And yet these surrogates rarely mention him. Michael Cohen's consistency since his arrest and incarceration back up the world of Trump. Trump's a petty little mushroom penis thug who is weak in every way a man can be. Which also says plenty about those carrying his dirty laundry.
And Vivek, who's here right now so he can speak for himself, he said this is a sham trial.
Really, Donnie? Vivek Haraswamy? He's your proof that the trial's rigged?
I learned a lot from being in there in person. It is one of the most depressing places I have been in my life, but it is fitting because the only thing more depressing than the environment of that courtroom is what's actually happening in there. The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vivek, if your tiny brain can't follow along. A financial crimes case might be difficult for your limited attention span. Maybe you'd like to drop your shorts and watch this instead. And then there's the governor of North Dakota, who has suddenly shifted his role of supervising a state with a coyote and three brothers named Daryl to become an expert on financial crimes.
The star witness is a serial perjurer. Then you have to ask yourself, what is this all about? And I think the only conclusion, of course, is it's election interference and it's tying up the president from being out on the campaign trail.
Yes, this case is about Donald Trump. And in case you haven't noticed, he doesn't attract a cast of Christian all-stars. I mean, Republicans, this is really your guy.
I moved on her like a bitch.
Considering Trump's friends and surrogates, Pecker, Stormy, and Cohen look like saints. But I admire the balls on these Republicans to call Cohen a serial liar. Cohen lied, but in the sport of lying compared to Trump, Cohen is an instructional ball while Trump is a plaque at Cooperstown. So shut your hole and give me something real.
You're describing this all as political. And of course, we've seen instances where judges that Trump appointed are overseeing his cases, and we have not seen complaints from Trump's team then. So I think that table could turn both ways. But Governor, at the heart of this, it is the falsification of business records. And I just want to ask you one more time, do you agree that's not legal, that it's not just a paperwork issue or a misclassification issue, that falsifying business records is indeed illegal?
Well, I don't think that's been proven yet.
While Republicans call this trial weak, which is their prerogative, they've also forgotten about the documents and especially January 6th. The Republicans who called out Trump on January 6th are now quiet.
Well, let me give you my view of what happened January the 6th. And we're here. We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection for the purpose of trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power after a legitimately certified election.
But the cast of Dairy Queens and altar boys can forget their differences long enough to lie about the events of that day. But now we know January 6th is even worse than we thought. The former White House situation officer, a guy named Mike Stiegler, is revealing now that President Trump never called down to check on Vice President Mike Pence as the Trump fans hunted him in the Capitol.
How do we move to different locations, and how do we keep the government going?
During a riot of our own people.
Yeah.
Inspired by the man sitting upstairs.
Correct. But at the time, that's not even in the forefront of our mind. It doesn't matter how we got here. We're here. How do we execute? How do we move forward?
Did the president ever call down to the Situation Room that day?
Not to my knowledge.
Not once?
No, sir.
Didn't ask what was going on?
Not to my knowledge.
Didn't ask how the vice president's doing?
Not to my knowledge.
Some people even question today, elected officials, whether the vice president was really in danger. You see a lot of revisionist history going on about January 6th. As someone who was inside the room that day, what's your reaction?
It's important to me that we don't forget that it did come that close. And that we did have discussions. If we lose the VP, if the 25th is invoked, we started running through all of these game plans because it was getting close.
25th Amendment.
Correct.
This is our country, and these people are playing a game of which I can't understand. Did they not see what the rest of the world witnessed? A madman trying to overturn the results of an election? And he didn't do it to be president. Trump hates being president, but winning was the only way to avoid what's happening right now. It's called justice. The Republican Party wants power so badly, they will sell the justice system down the road, and in doing so, the future of our republic.
Mr. President, do you plan to testify?
Yeah, I would testify, absolutely.
Well, that's a lie. There's a better chance that Dairy Queen will get a PhD than Trump will get on the stand and try to tell the truth of which he's incapable of telling.
Never fight uphill, me boys, never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow.
Surely the Republican Party can see his mental decline, his amoral approach to everything, from the Constitution to his own family. He cares about no one other than himself. And yes, he can send surrogates out to lie for him, and they will.
You're a nasty person.
But at the end of business, they too will be played and forgotten.
I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, Republicans might not like Cohen, but no one knows Trump better than the guy who once said he'd take a bullet for him.
And shoot somebody.
But Cohen didn't realize that Trump would be the one firing it.
Who's with me?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore. Am I wrong?
Damn right.
Tick-tock, mother...
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and please subscribe to Really American, where we keep you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. Hey, and make sure you join us as a member on Patreon, where we can connect directly with you and enable us to expand, make more videos, and hire more hosts. Can't do it without you. For Really American,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.